done in the past. Here's the list of the projects that we have done in the past relating to creative economy. And for today's session, I would like to address on this particular project called Creative ASEAN, which is research that we have done with Ministry of Commerce a few years ago. I have to tell you guys that I'm not the creative economy expert. I try to use the management perspective in order to analyze and give recommendation based on our observation, interview, and also the research paper as well. So if you guys have anything to add, please feel free to do so. All right. The next one is the observation on creative economy policy of ASEAN. I mean, when we refer to the term creative economy, for some people, they usually think about the first announcement of the creative economy in the country's development policy, at least that for my colleagues. For example, here. Sorry. All right. But actually, in fact, ASEAN has been driving creative economy for quite some time now. For example, here, Malaysia launched the multimedia super corridor in 1995. Or even Thailand, we have embedded the creative industry as part of our economic development policy in 2003. And later on, we have this TCDC and OKMD afterward. And we still do have many creative economy related activities going on until today. Like, for example, here, right? Here's the direction of creative industry based on UNCTAD classification. There are mainly 4 sectors. We can easily see from here that from the UNCTAD classification, Malaysia focused mainly on the media sector, while Singapore focused on art, functional design, and media. But the way Singapore do this is that they use art as the supportive sectors to enhance the development of the other 2 sectors, functional design and media, which I will talk about this later on. But for the rest of the countries, Thailand, Philippines, and Indonesia, they chose to invest in every sectors. And for our team can really tell the direction of which way they are going to, even for Thailand. And now we have seen the direction of this creative economy. The next step will be how to turn this direction into implementation, which is the creative city development, of course. Our team, when we first analyzed this creative city, we first thought that it would be similar to the development of the industrial cluster in general. I mean, we would have selected industry, then we would just create the ecosystem around it in order to make sure that it will enhance the value chain of the industry, and then it finally will become the industrial cluster. But in fact, after our observation, we found out that there are actually 2 approaches in terms of developing the creative city. The first one is similar to the industrial cluster development, which is the top-down approach. The government will have a clear mandate and clear policy on certain industry. They will then try to enhance the value chain by creating the cluster and all sorts of these enabling factors. And finally, it will become the city for selected industry only. The first case study and example that I want to show you guys here is Malaysia. We studied this like a few years ago. The multimedia super corridors. It is the national ICT master plan for Malaysia. They believe that they would use the knowledge-based economy to be the new growth engine for the economy. They chose Cyberjaya to be the center of this MSC. They have invested a lot of money to create the ecosystem, the infrastructure, the supportive business, and in order to make sure that it can attract world-class companies and IT companies to come and use Cyberjaya as the main hub for their business. The infrastructure in Cyberjaya also includes university here, the multimedia universities, the studios, and other residential areas as well. They believe that by having this world-class company to operate in the area, it will have some sort of spillover effect to the local company as well. Yeah, that's the first case. The next case is Singapore. Singapore is a small island country without any natural resources. They can't even build a large factory there. The wealth of the nation comes mainly from the people, and the people that also come from our part of the world as well. The way Singapore do this is that they want to focus on the front end of the value chain, which is the R&D part. Basically, you can find many R&D facilities there, such as this MIT Media Lab or even the Philips Design. And also on the back end of the value chain, which is the distribution part, they have MTV or HBO headquarters there as well. And now, to facilitate the movement of the people coming to work and live in Singapore, Singapore even offer a program called Contact Singapore to help these people to come and work more easily. But by recruiting these people only is not enough for Singapore. They also need to find a way to retain these people in order to work and live for as long as they can. So they try to use the arts and culture as a way to create attractiveness inside the city. What Singapore did actually do is actually they gather all sort of arts and culture from all parts of the world and try to display inside the country. And they believe that by having this art object or certain culture expo inside the country, it will have some sort of emotional attachment to the people who live in Singapore, and they would feel that they still belong in Singapore and they're not going to go somewhere else. In addition to that, in order to make the city vibrant enough for the people in Singapore, they even has a plan to develop a new landmark from time to time. For example, in the past, the Jurong Bird Park, until the Universal Studio, and now the Marina Bay Sands, and even the Botanical Garden. The next case study is Seoul, the city of Seoul in Korea. But before I start talking about Seoul, I want to start talking about the development of the creative economy in Korea a little bit first. The development of the creative economy in Korea actually started in the late 1990s. You guys might have heard it as the Korean wave, right? Korea believed that they want to differentiate itself from the other country. They want to use this local culture as the main ingredient for their products or services. So what they do is that they try to infuse this local culture, local content into various forms of the product and try to export to other parts of the world. For example, the series or the movies or the music. But they don't stop there. They expand further to other businesses and other sectors. For example, from Daejangkum to the food industry, from this series, I don't know what it's called, to the tourism industry. And as the technology developed, they realized the importance of social media or digital media. They start to shift from the traditional media to the digital media one. So they're now focusing on animation and computer games. And because of this reason, Korea started to concentrate and build the digital media city in Seoul, in the center of Seoul. They want to create the digital media and entertainment cluster, similar to the Cyberjaya in Malaysia as well. These are the case study for the top-down approaches. The next one is bottom-up approach. The key players here are the local people, local entrepreneurs, local communities that help develop the city in terms of creating activities and movement. And once the government see the potential of the city, they then will come in and support later. The first example and case study that we have studied before from the Creative ASEAN Research Project, the first one is Bandung. Bandung is a university town. There are a lot of young, creative, and talented people in the city. But the key to the development of the creative city of Bandung is the creation of distro or the space, such as the Dago Street. People tend to come to the street to show off their talents, to sell their products, and as there are more people coming, more activities going on, it creates competition among them. And finally, these people become like local entrepreneurs. In addition to that, with the collaboration amongst Bandung Creative City Forum and the municipality of Bandung, they work together to provide support to the local communities and also to foster activities going on in the city as well. Bandung became famous, and like I said, once the government see the potential of the city, they then come in and provide support. Bandung is now one of the famous places for expos, such as the Creative City Expo or even the Hela, I don't know how to pronounce it, Hela Festival. Yeah. Next one is Cebu, the city of culture. Cebu is one of the furniture manufacturing city of the Philippines. The city itself already has its own cultural set, which is the craftsmanship. But With the collaboration among local entrepreneurs, they want to raise Cebu brand further. They started to form this creative Cebu council, and they start to create all sort of ecosystem to encourage and enhance the culture and local, entrepreneurship within the city. And once again, the government see the potential of the city. They then came in and provide support. Next one is Chiang Mai, of course. Chiang Mai is a gathering place of artists, thinkers, and talented people of Thailand. In Thailand, Chiang Mai is considered to be the best practice of creative city in Thailand. The government once even tried to copy Chiang Mai model and imitate this to other parts of the country as well. But of course, due to the political uncertainties in Thailand that we all know, those attempts were not successful as it should be. But with the strength of the local people, local communities, and local entrepreneurs in Chiang Mai, it somehow makes Chiang Mai strong enough to withhold this uncertainty and still be the best creative city in Thailand. Still. The last example that I want to show you guys here is the non-ASEAN one. It's Factory 798 in Beijing. It was once an art factory, but then a group of artists came in and revamped the whole thing to become the art gallery. And as there are more activities going on in this factory, it became famous. Then the government came in and officially announced this to be the artistic development zone. Factory 798 is now one of the landmarks for expo, fashion show, and even the art market for Beijing. Now, the key point that I want to make here are the differences between actors, key success factors of the two approaches here. One, the top-down approach, require a clear direction and strong commitment from the government in order to provide support. But another one required the strength from the local people, local entrepreneurs, local community to work together and build up their own hometown city. Just like Pitong said, we need to create some sort of interaction among the cities. The last thing that I want to touch on is the recommended framework for ASEAN. I think each ASEAN nation do realize the importance of creative economy now. And with this ASEAN community is getting implemented in the next few years, I think it is the right opportunity for us to work together and use this creative city development or even creative economy development as a driving force for us to work together and enhance our nation further. Actually, the recommendations here are meant for the creative economy development, but I think it can also be applied to creative city development as well. The recommendation here is mainly divided into two main parts. The first part is to provide creativity to the people. And the second one is to try to create opportunity for businesses and link for the opportunity. The first recommendation that I want to touch on is the creative environment. We want to focus on creating ecosystem or the environment that help fostering creativity and collaboration among cities and talents. One of the obvious example I see here today is this Southeast Asia Creative City Network. The next one is the creative knowledge and entrepreneurship. We want to make sure that the young talents are creative enough. They have the ability to think out of the box. And also for the entrepreneurs, they are equipped with the modern management skill that can help them do business properly. Next one is creative trade and commercialization. We want to create a market for creative products, creative services, and even creative talents for each ASEAN nation. And the last one is creative business infrastructure. We would like to promote the supportive measure from the developed countries such as Singapore to developing countries in terms of funding or other supportive business such as this IPR advice or even other intelligence data service. And that's the end of my presentation for now. I do hope to see more of this sort of activity that we all can share our experiences together once again in the future. Thank you very much.